Evening folks, this is BestInSlot and welcome back to Blackrock Park, our brand new, modern, North American inspired zoo. In today's video we're going to work on the next big building, and then I promised we're going to add the bison in episode 3, but what I really want is to do a staff complex. Now in the future other staff buildings are going to be a little bit more chill, but for this one this is going to be right at the start of the zoo. It's going to serve this huge bison exhibit that's going to cross over the bridge and stuff like that, or under the bridge as someone suggested. Good idea. And I really wanted this staff building to be not something I hide away, but a building that looks like it could be part of the zoo, a building that suits the theme and ideas that I'm rolling with for the entire zoo. So we're going to build a big, beautiful, modern staff building, which is also something I've never done before. So again, I really do want to give myself these little challenges to try new things across this series. Now, before we move on, of course, to the time-lapse itself, as I try to decide what the hell I'm going to do, I have, of course, done a little bit of work and updated this opening area. I'm sure some people may not be the biggest fan of what I've done, but I think it's a marked improvement. I think one of the problems I had was I was too stuck on this modern idea, and definitely that's going to be aesthetic. The aesthetic, I should say. I'm going to be blah blah blah. But you still need clutter, you still need stuff, you still need zoo stuff, you still need facilities, you still need benches, you still need education things, you still need plant life, you still need things to make it feel like an actual zoo. It was too bland before, and that really was the main problem. So I'm going to show you what I've done. As we move forward, I think it looks, I'm really happy with it, I'm not going to lie. So I've just added some education boards over here on the right, again with little donation boxes next to them, put some little lights in front of those as well. I've added more benches on this left hand side, so you can come and sit down and look at our watering wall. I might give that like a little name, and maybe mix up the light colours a little bit across the whole thing, get a little bit of a rave going, you know. But I added some more benches against that wall there. If we move forward and go to our viewing areas, you can see I've added some bison signs, some facility, whatever these called, screens. I was going to put more stuff on them. I might surround them in maybe a little bit of wood or something like that, but I quite like the slightly stark approach. I think that is something we have to stick to. Put some trees in, but the trees are contained within like planters and stuff like that. That's something we're going to be doing a lot of as well. I think that, you know, gives it that little, oh hello, you know I can't resist some foliage. It gives it a little burst of colour though, and makes it look a little bit more interesting and a little bit more zoo-like, whilst also still maintaining that modern feel. And it is, you know, it's the same tree on each side, it's all symmetrical and sort of controlled. We also have the don't feed the animal sign. There's also a log there. I'm not really sure why, but I really like the log, so I'm just putting it there so I know to put a log in. I've also added a little bit of a railing on top of there so people are less likely to fall in and die, basically. So it's identical on the other side, of course, as you can see. What else we have? I've done a little bit of detailing work on this front bit. We've got the security cameras now. I did get rid, somebody suggested I do this, of the lit up white tubing foliage stuff next to my bison friend. The bison needs a name, by the way. Let me know in the comments down below. What do we name our little bison logo mascot right here? So we've got some security cameras, got a few bit more detailing in here. If we go inside, we have ticket office, we have a little ATM, we've got this detailing on the wall. I actually really like that. I think that looks really cool, this detailing. It kind of fits, but that's like the Indian signpost or something like that. I've just kind of hidden the more floral part of it underneath the ticket office sign. If you look up, there is, you know, some black boundaries around the top. This is the only bit I have a problem with, this little room right here. I really like how a lot of it looks, but it doesn't look like a ticket office. I really wanted to put like the information shop in there, but I just cannot do it. I deleted so much stuff and it still wouldn't fit in. I'd have to delete like half the park at this point in order to put an actual shop in there. So I'm just going to try to put as much stuff in there as possible to make it feel like an information / ticket booth. I'm not sure what else that would be. So I've added that. I need to add some windows actually. I've added a little doorway, and the doorway leads you outside. There's a little seated area there and a little staff only sign. Actually has the exact same on the other side if we nip around here. So again, we've got a doorway, you come outside, you've got a little staff area, which of course as you can see I've bounded off from the rest of the park. I think the idea is they come in from down here basically. What I really like, I might put like a little rope across there, you know, it's like a little staff boundary sort of thing. Right, let's go back in. Of course I did some plant life in there underneath my running water, plus a pronghorn. I think it's meant to be a pronghorn anyway. Chilling amongst the foliage, just give that a little bit of life. I think there's some lights in there now as well. It could actually do with a little bit more, but I covered the floor in planters, as you can see. What else have I done? I actually really like this little area. I think it's super cute. Right, if we come outside and shuffle around, you see I've done a little bit more detailing on here. I added this whole section on the left, this whole overhang. Again, put the pillar right there. Added a clock. I really like the clock. Another exit sign, and again, another security camera. I actually think it's a pretty cool looking building at this point in time. I don't know. So, I'm going to give this a go. I'm a little bit nervous. The plan is to put in every building first, I think, and all the pathing, and then we're going to build around it. Is that the play? I think that's the play. I'm not optimistic about this, but I think if we just... I think we can do it. We just need to give it a go. So, time-lapse time. Here we go then, folks. It's time-lapse time. And today we're going to build ourselves a fancy little staff building. Well, we're going to try. As I'm going to say several times, I'm sure this really is not my area of expertise, to say the least. You know, big buildings and stuff like that. I had a little bit of an idea going into this. Most of it I kind of just made up on the spot, if I'm being totally honest with you. But we'll see how it goes. We aren't going to totally finish this today. We're going to get the outside done, and we're going to decorate it, and it's going to look quite nice. The inside still needs a little bit of decoration to bring it together, but I'm going to just do that over time. So you're going to see about 2.5 hours worth of building, regardless, in this little time lapse. And then next episode, we'll finally add some bloody animals, because I've spent so much of my... I had like $80,000, and now I'm down to like $40,000, and it ends up in like $16,000 or something like that. So... what I thought I'd do is put down all the... I'm making a mistake here, by the way. I should have got rid of the curb that you can see on the path. You can toggle that on and off, and I really should have got rid of that before I did this. But I think for a big building like this, you know, the idea is this is going to be a multi-level staff building. I think it's a good idea to put the buildings and the path in beforehand, and then just build around it, basically. Annoyingly, since I recorded this video, like, in the building, I've had a few ideas how to make the whole thing look a little bit better, but we'll have to wait till next time for that. But, yeah, didn't really have specific ideas, just started to try to put something together, you know, put the path in, put the buildings in, and just see what happens. Whether this is an efficient way to do it is a whole other kettle of fish, because at the end of the day, especially for the buildings on the second floor, your staff members have to walk up onto the second floor. You know, I've got my quarantine in there. Is that where it stays? I think so. Which means if I get a quarantined animal, they're going to have to carry the animal into the building and up onto the second floor. Thankfully, this isn't going to be a particularly big zoo, and we'll probably end up doing little staff buildings hidden away as per usual. I just wanted to give this a go because it's something we don't really ever do. Whew, I can't breathe today. We do have a slight third floor, but the idea behind the third floor is simply to have it as a place for the electricity. I didn't want that in the other floors, but I did want it as part of the building. So just doing the path and doing all the buildings, making sure it all sticks together. The path was... when you do a grid like this, it can be a problem, but there you go. And now we're going to start doing the shell. And we're going to be mainly working in the same materials we were working in last time, and that is the New World wood. And the... I can't remember what the metal is called. Metal clad, I think it's called. We're going to be working in the New World wood and the metal clad walling and stuff like that. Just because that seems to be my theme. That and the glass is kind of the theme of the whole park so far. This little bit at the side you can see sticking out on the right hand side, that's a going to be a balcony eventually. Like a little staff area, they can chill, they can look at the bison, they can have a, you know, have a drink. Long day at work, you know, they can chill out a little bit. Now, this is a problem right now, and it's going to be a problem later on. What I should have done, and what I didn't realise at the time, I should have flattened the land entirely first. I eventually put the wood in here, like over the top of the path, and I do have a problem wherein you can see like little bits of it, so I've had to raise the wood up. It's a massive pain in the ass, but we did kind of fix it eventually. Yeah, how's everyone doing? I promised last time without animals. We will get some animals into the park, because I really want to see if we can be profitable more than anything else. Can we make a profit? But yeah, we'll have some fun first. So what I really want to do whilst building this, you'll see this a lot, is as we're putting the wood in, is kind of just do little, shut up world, do little bits where we mess around with the angles a little bit. You know, I wanted it to feel angular and asymmetrical and a little bit weird, basically. We wanted it to feel a little bit weird. And that's kind of where we ended up. It gets this odd, like, Tetris kind of effect. Already I was screwing up here, like, the blocks just were not fitting together. I really fundamentally don't understand Planet Zoo's building system. They've got this thing wherein on the line, basically you can sit either just a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, so the building pieces don't click together in the exact same way. I don't know why it's not just on the line. I've never really understood that, but hey ho, that's how the building system works. I'm sure I'm just missing something, but whatever. That's the start of the second floor, just putting the flooring over the top of the buildings on that second floor. I think we end up changing this front bit quite a lot. One of my main problems with buildings like this, and it still is really, is when you've got these big flat surfaces, how do you make them interesting? I had the same problem with Panagar, and this felt like that a lot, you know, in terms of when I was building it. It is, at the end of the day, a box. Especially because we're going for this very modern kind of styling, it becomes quite difficult to... Also, weird little thing, you just saw that on the left, like where the stairs have cut into the wall. I really like it. It looks really cool. It's got like a little bit of modern chic to it. Anyways, because I do want this kind of modern zoo, as in I'm trying not to go overboard on the decorations and stuff like that. I do need more. I really do. I need to stop being so worried about it. We talked about this earlier with the entrance walkway. That looks so much better to me now that I've put decorations and stuff in. Sorry, it's been a day. I'm a little bit. I don't know why I am, but I can't breathe. It's fine. It's fine. Minor details. Don't worry about it. I think I just talked too fast. Whew. Oh boy, am I dying? I might be dying. Nah, I had a good run. I decided to leave a couple of gaps in the second floor. You'll see it now and again. This building was a massive pain. I just had this idea in my head, and you like little gaps and put like a little railing across it so you can look down onto the floor below. One of the problems was always going to be that the bottom, because it is 3 floors, or 2 and then a 3rd floor and a little bit of it, that bottom floor was always going to be quite dark. It does brighten up because we put glass everywhere, but I just wanted some way of looking into the 2nd floor, figuring that would brighten up the bottom floor a little bit more. 1st floor, I should say. In England, we say ground floor, 1st floor, 2nd floor. Do we? Or do we? Is that American? I actually cannot remember. I think that's English, right? That we say 1st floor for the 2nd floor. I know that sounds dumb, but the 1st floor is the 1st floor up. Whereas I believe in America the 1st floor up is the 2nd floor, right? Someone confirm that in the comments. I'm going crazy. Yeah. This is actually there's actually going to be a weird little gap. I made the building a bit bigger than it had to be. So what I ended up doing, because I think if you have the rooms too big, you're going to see later we're going to bring in more corridors and bring the walls in to tighten it up a little bit. If the rooms are too big, it's easier for them to look boring and decorations don't matter as much and stuff like that. I wanted them to be tighter, so I brought the roof down quite a bit. So we've got this weird little sort of shell about halfway through the building now, which is just completely empty. You never see inside it by the time we're done, but just odd, basically. Yeah, just getting the shape, a little bit of funkiness in the shape, why not? We're going to raise the funkiness later. There are going to be little gaps here and there. I recorded this across a couple of days. Obviously, this is a little bit later than I would have liked, but there's been so much happening in the past few days, and I've just not had the time to commit to a big building project. Basically, I'm trying to hide that cheeky little staircase. That's mainly what the first half of this is, you know, just hiding stuff with wood, basically. Just like in real life. What was I saying? I actually have no idea. That's fun. Every now and again, yeah, you'll see we find little gaps and we just slide some wood in there just to find a little gap and just slide some wood in there. Just anything, there's always these little areas that need a little bit of love just because of how the building's been put together. So we just need to go through and cover them up as much as possible. Oh yeah, my recording program keeps stopping for some reason. I really cannot figure out why, but it just keeps stopping on me. So every now and again it might jump forward, but I don't think I lost that much at all. Now, this is what I started doing today. So, is this from today? Let me think. No. Right, so this is basically what I did yesterday, and then in a moment we're going to jump forward to today's, I think. Raise the roof a little bit in front of the glass wall, just so we're in the 2nd floor. You can stand in front of the window and you can see the whole window and it all lights up and it's really... There we go, there's the jump forward to the 2nd day. I think, yeah, so working on the balcony a little bit, just a chill little area for our peeps to hang out and chill out and chillaxercise. We started working on the roof, and the roof really does bring it together a little bit. Got rid of the wood, and just like the entrance building, I really like the metal on top of the wood, because I feel like it's kind of the opposite of what you should do, because obviously the metal's heavier. So we're going to use this metal clad, and just kind of give it a bit of a funky pattern, basically. It's not going to cover the whole roof, it's not going to cover all of it, same with the walls. We're going to put some of it on the walls, but we're not going to cover the entire thing. The idea is to give it that modern, slightly edgy kind of feeling, you know? Ow! My wrist keeps cracking really painfully. Yeah, you'll see what I mean. You'll get a feeling for it. But already, that is like the basal what it's going to look like, really. So we stop like doing little supports. These wouldn't technically be necessary, but again, I think this is more like a kind of more like a style thing than anything else. I just like how they look, and I think it adds a little bit more character to the building having these supports there, and it does maybe make it look a little bit more like it obeys physics. Not that physics isn't a massive nerd, but still. Yeah, just wanted a little bit of intrigue. What can I say? And I think we get that. I actually think that roof is kind of what brought it together for me. It made a big difference. A little bit of metal on the front as well, and a few of the walls are going to be replaced with metal. Very rarely, except this front building, front part of the building, in like just a rectangular shape. The idea is, again, to focus on the asymmetry and to mix things up a little bit. And I just didn't want it to feel. I didn't want it to be boring more than anything else, because I think it's quite easy to make a big wooden box and it to not have much intrigue in it, and that's really just what I wanted to avoid as much as possible. One of my problems was, as you can see here, so this top bit you're looking at right there is nothing. You know, that's the cave in the middle. So when I was adding windows onto the side of the building, a lot of the windows were clipping into that middle bit, so they looked really weird when you looked through them. What I should have done is put in... Let me think about this. I should have put in the second floor, put the path up to it, and then have the path going along there. The building would have been a lot smaller, which would have probably been a good thing anyway. It would have been lower to the ground, and I wouldn't have had any of these issues. I know that now. I'll do that in the future. But for this, we made a big-ass building. It's humongous. So unnecessarily humongous. I really want to do more stuff like patterning and stuff like that. I see some people do amazing stuff like this kind of thing right, that I'm like working on right here. Just a little thing. It's not anything, but it doesn't have that inventive spark that I see other people do, and I don't know what it is about architectural buildings. They just don't click for me in the right way, and it upsets me greatly. I really wish I could do better, but I am overall pretty happy with this building. I do have to say it came together pretty well. It's definitely a step in the right direction. It's not the kind of thing I build. Fang? Did I just say fang? So practice is good, eh? Doing a little bit more metal around the sides. Again, I kind of like it when the metal isn't necessarily part of the wall, but it sticks out just a little bit. Unfortunately, not doing it there, but you see it on like on the entrance gate, well, the exit gate technically. Like the metal sticks out from the wall. I think it gives it a pretty cool little effect. Putting a little bit of a boundary around the top again, just not strictly sticking with the shape, just mixing it up a little bit. I do change the front because I think this looks stupid as it happens, but yeah, just giving it a little bit more. It's all about like different levels of height and different textures and all that kind of jazz, you know? You guys know. I talk about this stuff all the time. It's all I talk about. Now, we're going to work on this little area over here. I think we're going to do the balcony, maybe? Possibly? Any second now? Yeah, just because of how I built the building and some of the pieces don't quite go together, there's a lot of duplicating a piece and shoving it just a little bit further up, you know? That's okay. Cover that window up because we're edgy. It does look quite nice inside. It's just a bit boring right now. You know, it's lit up really nicely. The glass looks great. It's really fun to walk around. I just need decorations and plants and like maybe a more interesting floor. I think this is one of the problems. I don't think I'm going to mention this later, but the ground is the same texture as the walls. Because I use the same building pieces, and I actually think that's one of the biggest problems the building has in why it doesn't look that interesting inside. So I think I'm going to replace all the flooring with a different texture. I think something else, like maybe some stone or something like that, will make it look a lot cooler. Just adding a little bit of wall on here, just to... Well, this is what we did at the start, right, as well? So it's like flat, and then you've got these angular pieces coming out from the side. So I thought that was a nice continuation. I just think it looks cool. It really emphasizes the asymmetry. I think it really suits like a balcony area as well. I actually really love the balcony. I think it looks very cool. Look at that, it's cheeky, isn't it? I love a cheeky balcony. I really wanted something on the front. I'm still not sure about what I'm going to do here. I end up kind of just covering parts of it in some planks. As you can see, I'm working through every single item in the game to figure out what I'm going to put there. And eventually... No, not that one. I'll get there in a minute, I promise. It's not that one either. Eventually, it's that one. There we go. You really can't see this. It just creates like a little bit of an edge. I think when the glass and other textures hits directly, it looks a little bit odd. I think you need a border of some description, even if it's quite subtle. And I wanted to mess around with the asymmetry again a little bit more. It's quite hard to see, unfortunately, so I tried thickening it up, but it's still really hard to see, and that little bit in the middle looks a little bit daft, so what I'm going to try to do, I was trying to cover it from the front. What I'll end up doing is actually just sliding a piece of wood in there, basically, and blocking, because you can see like that little gap underneath the stairs. It looks a bit daft, so there you can see we're just replacing that with a bit of wood. I think it looks a lot better. Still want to cover the windows. I'm not sure how. Might just do a bit of wood. It's going to take ages. So I'm just waiting for now. Whew, every now and again, just breaking the building in a little bit, add some more windows. It really is important with a big building to get as much light in as possible. Got a little confused here because of the way it's set up, and basically it's 4 floors. Where one of the floors is tiny and doesn't exist. It can be very confusing when you delete things. You know, it takes a minute to figure everything out. But yeah, it kind of comes together. We're going to add some foliage outside because I'm addicted. So this is what I mean. So I'm adding this wood to the bottom, and you can see the path curb there. It's kind of clipping into it every single time. So that's not great, but we do get rid of that. It's quite easy to do. That's the other problem, because it wasn't flattened. You can see just a little bit where the path is raised up and it's cutting through the wood. Now, I don't know why I didn't just flatten it and relay the path, but I don't. We do a little bit of raised wood. You really can't tell. I think it actually looks okay in a slightly stylish way. I might raise it up a little bit further to make it more noticeable. Either way, it's fine. Like that, you know, it's just a slightly different part of the room happens to be raised up a little bit. That's fine, I think. I think that's totally okay. I'm totally okay with that. Totally okay with that. Cough. But I do think that blends in too much with the walls. It makes it all look very blended and homogeneous and a little bit dull. You know, it's hard to... Yeah, you see what I mean? You can see just looking down those corridors. I don't think it looks great like that. So I am going to go back before the next video. I plan to work on this quite a lot before the next video, because the next video is ready to start, basically. We're going to do our bison exhibit. It's going to be fairly chill. We can basically get going straight away. I don't really have to do much prep work for that. This was the prep work, essentially. So before that bison video, what I'll do is I'll go through and I will place the floor and do a little bit of decoration. And at the start of the next video, before we do our time lapse, I'll give you a little tour of the new staff building. Probably won't be finished, but it's going to develop over time as I get new ideas and stuff like that. As per usual, I love when this is a slightly communal affair. You know, you guys get involved, like the idea that we're going to talk about in a bit, of having the bison exhibit kind of go under the water, under the bridge as well. That was an idea from one of you at home, so I do listen. I promise I listen. Oh, God. I'm dying. Yesterday was a big day. Yeah, I had like 4 hours of sleep and then did like 5 videos in a row and didn't stop, and it was a little bit crazy. So I think it's had a little bit of an impact. So, but I'm glad I could get this out finally. You know, I love Planet Zoo. I love doing franchise mode. It's like this nice steady thing that I get to come back to and get creative with. It's really cool. Messed around a little bit with some decorations on the outside. The idea of having all the staff signs out there. It looks really bad, so I get rid of it, basically. But you get to see me screw around with it for a moment. It's fun for the whole family. One thing I really want, we're going to put some font on the outside, some text saying like staff or something like that. And the font just, it looks Comic Sansy. It looks childish. I really want us to get some... You know, say you can put down a letter, you can choose the colour, and you can choose the font. That would be amazing. That would be so good. I'm praying that we get that, because at the moment the lettering options are just a little bit too limited for me. I wasn't really sure what to do here. I was considering having that as like a blocked off area and filling it with like a little foresty bit, filling it with like a little statue or something, a bit of a water feature, just having like a nice indoors thing. I think we probably will still do that, because I think that's probably the best way to fill that area in. But if anyone's got alternate ideas, I might make it like a little kiosk staff feeding area. I don't really know what you'd have in a staff building. I've never had a real job, so like, what would you have in a building that staff members would want? That's actually the main thing I need from you folks at home. If you were in a big modern staff building like this, you know, you've got different working areas for all your different staff members, what would you have inside? How would you make it good for your staff, kind of thing? You know, what would your staff want in there? I can't really do things like game rooms, but I'm thinking in terms of decorations and displays. I think we'll do like a little foresty bit. That would be cool. A little North American forest. Yeah, I can't figure this path out. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. This thing I've got going, you know, where I do the thick grey path and then put the wood in the middle, is kicking my... It's a terrible idea. Like, it's going really badly. It was a huge mistake, and I very much regret it and cannot wait to move away from doing it. I'm just doing a little bit of a foresty area out here just to make the whole building look a little bit nicer. Again, I do limit myself quite hard by my standards. I don't want this to be over the top. I don't want to block off the building per se. I just like how, I like blocking off some viewpoints. I like having some shadows in there. And as much as this is a modern park, you would still have grassy areas. You'd still have beautiful nature areas. And I think it's going to be a much nicer lead-in to the bison exhibit, which is going to go on the right-hand side by having a little bit of a foresty bit. The idea is to still have those bits, because I can't resist, but to limit them more than I typically would in the past. There's our little staff sign. I'm just going to... I don't mind that, I think it looks okay. I think it's necessary as well, to let the punters know that this is a staff building. You're not allowed inside. I'm going to hire like a bodyguard just to stand outside and put the spooks on them, basically. We must be near the end by now, I suspect. Yeah, 10 seconds left, so you will get a good look at this. In game, there's a couple more things I'm going to do. The recording unfortunately cut out, well, here, basically. Did a little picnic area. Again, I want to do more up there. I ended up putting like a little plant pot in there. I built a little garage as well underneath there for the cars, like just for the Jeeps to drive out into the park and do their thing. But you'll see all that in a moment. That was the time lapse. Thank you for joining me. Like I said, I am way open to suggestions on this. This is all very new for me. So if you have any ideas, any tips, any things you'd like to see, particularly inside, I'm pretty happy with the outside. It might need a little bit of love in places, but the inside in particular definitely needs sprucing up and making more interesting. So if you have any ideas for that, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. And until then, I'll see you folks in the next video. That was nearly English. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye. Right then folks, here we are with our staff building. Now obviously it's not finished. Basically the outside is... I think... Did you really just wait for me to start recording to making tons of noise? I think the outside is done-ish. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Generally speaking, it needs detail work maybe in bits and pieces, but I like the weird design, I like the kind of angles going on, the Tetris kind of effect on the roof. I'm generally speaking pretty happy with the outside. As per usual, adding trees makes everything better. The inside, now I had to get this done now, basically, otherwise it was not going to go up in time, basically, just because it's taken so long already. This is not something I'm particularly good at. This is not my speciality, shall we say, this kind of work. Something I don't want to do too much of, really. But so what I'm going to do is basically just work on the inside over time. We're not going to do an episode focused on it, don't worry about that. The next episode will be the bison, so let's talk about that. You've seen the building, well let's take a look at the building first. And then in like slow motion, there's my little balcony, our little garage. I did actually, again, I don't know what's going on with my recording, but every now and again it just stops. And I don't always notice straight away because it's just like a little box in the top right corner. It's actually getting really annoying. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but... little garage section, might put a little door behind there just for ambiance. Yeah, that's generally the building. It looks great. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to have to put some lights in it and stuff like that. We've got all the staff buildings we need. Hopefully they all work. And that is about it. So I will work slowly but surely on the inside. So it means every now and again when we come back and do a new video, I'll give you like a little tour and you'll see how the staff building grows and develops over time. And when it is finally done, I will upload it onto the workshop for those of you who, for some reason, want to get hold of it. Let's talk about the next episode instead. And that is going to be the bison. So we're going to come down here on the right. I don't know what I'm going to do with this path here. It's just being a massive pain in the butt. We're going to come down here and this is basically going to be a bison exhibit. Now I was going to do two separate ones, but I think I like the idea of like an underground tunnel going underneath the water and over to the other side. And what we'll do is we'll put in there, we'll make it all like homely, we'll put all the like warm stuff or the bedding and they can go and chill down there at night. And then we'll put food on one side, enrichment items on the other. And that should be a pretty cool exhibit that you'll be able to see from as you're walking along. You'll look out, you'll see them, eating on that side, or you'll look out over here and you'll see them playing around with toys. And we'll do like a little canopied viewing area, probably an identical one on both sides. I'll probably keep the symmetry for that. And that'll be our bison. I do have another plan as well that I want to talk about briefly. So we're not doing that many animals in this, and the problem is there's 7 animals and 3 of them are exhibit animals. North America really does not have many animals at all. So what I was thinking for the exhibit animals is I'm going to carry this on here, maybe do another exhibit here, and then I want to do like a big Probably a bungalow, because it's when buildings come multiple floors is when I start to struggle, as you may have noticed. But what I want is to do like a science building, basically like an education centre for kids and adults and all this kind of jazz. So it'll have like a little area with all the exhibit animals, but I'm thinking we'll build like scientific models and stuff like that, like big DNA sequences, using the geometric shapes in the game. And, you know, I had a thought of, you know, like those, I cannot remember what their proper name is, you know, the glass orbs that you put your hand on and the electricity jumps to you and your hair goes up and all that kind of stuff. Like, we can make one of those using like light tubes inside a big glass ball or something like that. I don't know, I think we can build some really cool stuff. Kind of reminded me of these like school trips you take to like the Millennium Dome as a kid. I'm sure there's equivalents for all of you, where you went to some big building and you went through and did loads of different science experiments and stuff like that. I really want to recreate that, and I think that'll be a perfect place for the exhibits as well. Maybe like a little seating area, and you'd have the exhibit animals, and then you'd have like a staff member who could show them, you know, like at a zoo where they, you know, let you pet the snake and stuff like that. That kind of thing is what I'm thinking. And I want to do like a glass dome, half dome. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Rudy, it might have been Sylv, I don't know, some immensely more talented than me builder did like a half dome lemur exhibit using wood, and it looked incredible. So I kind of want to steal that, but we're going to make it out of glass instead, something like that at the back here, like the big centerpiece of the park. Anyway, those are my ideas going forward. If anyone has any ideas for the staff building, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I really, you know, like I say, this is not my area, so I'm more than happy to have suggestions. But I'm excited to finally get our animals in. So next video will be fairly chill. We're going to build the bison boundaries, and then we're going to do some viewing areas at the side. It shouldn't be anything that complex. I do want to focus on making the ground exhibit areas look as good as they possibly can as well, because this is a bison and they have very limited foliage available. We really have to mess around with the terrain and with the rocks and with water in order to make these look a little bit more interesting than they otherwise would. But that will be the next episode. Apologies this has taken so long. The building just kind of smacked me around a little bit, unfortunately. I will do my best to speed it up a little bit in the future, but hopefully people understand in this case. I'm so worried about doing the inside. I don't want to ruin it, I really don't, but I have no ideas. Other than sticking lights in, which I'm happy to do, I'm just nervous about how I'm going to make this come together. And like, I'm happy with the layout, I'm happy with the metal and the wood, and like I want to put some plants in there. I've got my little plant pot there, but yeah, I don't know what to do. Like, how do we make this corridor not so boring, basically, you know? Like I said, any suggestions, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye. Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to help support me a little bit more, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. There's a link in the description down below. Every little really does help in times like these, but it's not at all expected, and by just watching the video you've already helped me out massively, and it makes you a pretty cool person, so well done you. Thanks for joining me either way, I'll see you next time.